Today is Wednesday, November 17th, 2021. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 41, Week 9.
This episode's titled Who's Who in the Zoo, spoken by Deshawn. I like those tentative violins that we had as they are coming back. Did you hear them? Did you notice them, the violins?
No.
Anyway, I just like that little bit of the intro music they were playing when they were coming back from Tribal Council. Deshawn's talking to Heather, talking about how messy it was and how he wanted to say no to it, but she really messed things up and made it messy.
Yep. He thought it was a train wreck. But I liked how he just told Heather, okay, Heather, but I just need a moment.
Yeah.
It's like, back off and don't get up my face and talk my ear off. Just give me a moment.
I don't need your recap of Tribal Council when you took us off the rails.
It's like we had a plan going in, which obviously she was a part of.
Shan tells us that she was bending over backwards to accommodate Deshawn, and Deshawn says that Shan's a bulldozer.
Yep.
There's two different views of that story for sure.
Yep, they don't think they can work together.
Evvie's liking it. She says there's fireworks on the beach tonight, and the chaos helps those of us on the bottom. So
That's
she's
true.
digging it.
That's the way it usually works.
This episode, basically, with that little bit, from when they come back from Tribal Council, it all takes place on day 17. So it's a one-day cycle.
Though I did want to point out that Deshawn is not the only one that's claiming that Shan's trying to tell everybody what to do. Mm-hmm. Even Ricard has used that same terminology.
Oh, yeah.
So he's not the only one that's feeling that way.
Definitely. Yep. Shan is a force. Okay, day 17 here at Viakana Beach.
And they're working it out, talking it out.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
It starts off that way.
Yeah.
Deshawn tells us he was trying to patch things up with Shan.
Well, and she keeps, telling him she wants to get better and she wants him to be heard.
It just reeks of being disingenuous, though. Even
the
touch tactic that she used when she puts her hand on his shoulder.
Borderline condescending almost, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's more how he takes it. Anyway, it's kind of...
I understand why. Only she knows what's in her heart, but it ain't coming across outwardly that well.
Well, I did like it that he's trying not to burn bridges here. He wanted to connect with Evvie at least. So.
And then Shan switches right back into telling him exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. Erika's the dangerous one. That's the one you need to focus on.
I thought it was cute how Naseer told Heather that she threw his name under the bus instead of him. But
just before that moment with Heather and Naseer, though, we get one that's sort of pivotal. It was a setup for this episode where Evvie and Deshawn both agree to never write each other's name down.
Oh, yeah.
You knew that was going to last, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that doesn't bode well.
Oh, goodness. And yes, and then Naseer tells Heather, I'm not buying anything that you say. And Xander's loving it all. He's standing in the background knowing he's the one
that wrote his name down.
Yeah, but he ain't telling anyone. He's just enjoying the show.
Yeah, but that was clever, because they do that sometimes in Big Brother, too, where they just go to throw somebody off, so they want them to think it's somebody else that wrote their name down. Mm-hmm. And it just causes more chaos. So I think because he did get a vote, that he was just sure she did it.
Well, Heather had shot herself in the foot because she had been trying to get people to write Naseer's name down, and
She had, but she said she
lied.
hadn't. She lied to him, and
then she got called out on that.
I know, kid. That was
It just got
was
worse.
hysterical when she said to Evvie, "What did I say?" And she's like, "You said vote
Write down
Naseer."
Naseer.
And he's like, "Yep, see, right in the middle of the lie." I thought, why wouldn't you give her a heads up if you were gonna ask her to cover for you or something? But
Heather's not tracking well. She's not keeping tabs on things. When they're boiling up some rice, they're having themselves a rice feast.
well, and Naseer had one moment of, "Hey, I have an idol. I'm not going home today."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, "Uh-oh."
You worried about your picks when you heard that?
I actually did.
Sometimes that
yes.
bragging.
It's like, okay, that's iffy, because when somebody says that and they show it, okay. Yeah.
The editors are always working backwards from what happened. But yes, they love it when you give them something good like that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's just one of the big Survivor sins. You don't run around bragging about how you're going to be in the game or what your next move in the game is.
Well, and they finally talked about Ricard's loss of hearing.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about, hey, it being an advantage that he could read lips and body language really well. And that seemed to be helping him.
What did you think about the way that they edited that?
I thought, and we discussed it briefly, was that, they finally highlighted this after this many weeks. We're in week 9.
Oh yeah,
They
this could be a swan song.
it.
Yeah.
Is he going home?
Right.
So at
no,
this
I'm
point,
sorry.
I'm like,
What I meant more specifically was how they edited that sequence where they were trying to show what it was like from Ricard's perspective.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So you had extremely muted voices,
Yeah.
and then you had cuts to just not even people's
the
full
noise
face, but
you
their
can't
lips.
make out
Mhm.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I like that they were trying to share a little bit of what his experience was like in that regard.
That part was really nice.
Mm-hmm. And then to contrast that with him saying, "I'm thriving, and I want to be the first hard of hearing winner in Survivor." So
All right, well, that's a good goal to have, because
then you get a really interesting sequence, and it's right up there, kind of like with the Naseer bragging about how he's not going anywhere. You get Shan saying, "We 4 should talk." Now Xander and Erika are sitting
right
with those
in
4,
front of them. What
but
is
they make a
wrong
big
with
public
her?
thing about you're not included. That's essentially how that comes across to me. Not you two.
It's like, oh, well, if you hadn't noticed, we're in an alliance. So
It's just
like,
disrespectful. You don't have to
Yeah,
do that
no.
way, and in flaunting your power that it doesn't
came
usually
off
go well
very
for you.
cocky as far as I
Yeah.
was concerned. And
You got Xander and Erika finally working on that question
hey,
we've all
maybe
been
we
wondering
need to
about.
talk to the others.
Really? Day 17, and you think maybe the people at the bottom could work together, huh? Well, at least you did have it. We'd kind of given up on the fact that you might consider it at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. And again, once again, Liana, Xander needs to go.
Shan's
Boy,
pushing
she's-
Erika, and into a really strange. I want to talk about that. It's coming up.
Well, yeah, wait till we get there.
Yeah, but that, of course, she's pushing the Xander tune.
Well, it was smart of Shan. She is paying attention that she'd rather get
She can totally
Erika
suss out the threat level.
She's really good at that. I thought, oh, okay. She's paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Xander's a threat, but he's an obvious threat, and he would be easier to manipulate and fool than Erika. I
And
think
it
that's what
requires
she
more
was
work
thinking.
because you've got to either conceal it, go for a stealth somehow vote out that he has no clue is happening so he won't play his idol, or you got to two-step it where you flush it and then take him the next time he's not immune. So all that extra work, they keep looking for the path of least resistance, and as far as she's concerned, that's Erika.
Well, yeah. So, okay.
And how interesting is it that the targets are Erika and Xander? Let's go to the community reward challenge. They have to balance on a narrow perch with the heels of their feet.
That looked
And
like
then-
maybe an inch.
And then their hands above their head, elevated. which is, I believe, like a known torture stance.
Yeah, and it can cause issues too. I
Yeah.
think that was why Naseer went numb. It was pinching a nerve or something. And it looked like to me, you said you thought it was Danny's back, but I thought it was his shoulder. The way he bent his arm around after, I thought it was his
So-
shoulder that was killing him.
Probst tells us they're going to be 2 winners and 2 people voted out. So they split up into yellow and blue, and it's a combo reward challenge. So they're going to get chicken and beef stew for the winner, which is the last person up on the perch out of everyone.
Yeah.
Only one of the 2 teams is going to
2 teams, 2 winners,
stew.
2 out. It's like, whoa. Okay, for the blue team was Danny, Deshawn, Xander, Liana, and Evvie. For the yellow team, Naseer, Erika, Heather, Shan, and Ricard. Boy, they didn't last too long, some of them.
Now,
You and I had discussed
we had
that,
discussions about this, and I said,
Yep.
Erika is the smallest, and that's huge. Total weight per square inch on those boards is like the number one factor there. In the past, that can be huge, and so I said Erika has a really good chance of winning.
Well, not only are her feet smaller, so maybe more of her heel was on the inch of board.
And it was less total weight,
less total weight, but
so she had to endure less pressure than
maybe
anyone.
could have hurt her a little more with the arms up, unless they probably set that for each person.
They
though.
did, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That appeared to be
So-
the case. And then you want to finish about
You were right about that then.
but you said, well, Evvie just won,
Yeah, she
and
did.
Evvie was first out, almost
know.
no time up there.
Well, you know why? It's because she just won,
That's
and her
it.
feet are still
Now you
sore. That was
adjust it.
only a day
Okay.
or 2 ago. So,
Sure.
she strained so badly then that
Somehow that didn't
She's still
factor in
sore.
when you were trying to argue about
no,
how she was
going
to
to
win this
that
time.
when you pointed it out. That's exactly what I
So
said
Evvie's
then
out,
too.
and then Heather and Liana and Shan not too far behind. And then, yes, like you mentioned, Danny went down, and I saw him going for his low back, which I know that's where it would start getting me for sure.
They said, "You can do it, Ricard." Drop.
Step out.
Like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And Naseer tried his best to psych Erika out, but she was having none of it.
Yeah, he said, I could stay up here for 2 hours. She said, let's go. It's on.
I think that backfired on him.
Yeah.
I liked that. Good on you, Erika.
Yeah, she just totally owned that one. She
Yep.
didn't make it all the way to the final win.
To heck with that. If your body's hurting that badly, she doesn't need as much food to sustain herself either. So probably the
Sure.
fruit and stuff that they're getting isn't as bad for her. And I thought, yeah, girl, I wouldn't have done it either. Why would you torture
Probst
yourself?
couldn't even finish his sentence before
Yeah,
she was
she's like,
stepping down
"Nuh-uh."
because he had told her,
No.
stay up there. As soon as Naseer stepped down.
She's like, oh, yeah, sorry, I tried. I thought, yeah, I wouldn't have tortured myself any longer
So we
just
had-
so they could eat.
The big face off, so it's down to Deshawn and Xander. So they know they're going to get Stu, but who's going to get individual immunity? Cut to Liana, and Liana says about Xander, I hate his face. Where is
know,
this
she
coming
was
from?
just- I know, why is she hating on him so much? I don't understand it either.
Do you think after the season's over, we're going to find out they had a thing or something early in the season?
I don't know.
And this
That was
is
your
the
theory.
blowback?
Is maybe.
Yeah.
I thought.
Where does that come from? All of a sudden, I hate his face.
Maybe
And
because she's been trying to
cheering for
get him
lose.
out so long and can't make any headway that she's just so frustrated because she's been trying to get him out since the beginning of the game, maybe. I don't know. That will be a question for Liana. And I hope somebody asks it. Okay, Deshawn versus Xander. Man, they both looked like they were in tremendous pain, but they hung in there. I was surprised. You think Deshawn thought he was at risk too?
A little over 33 minutes. I think he just really wanted to win one so they would have a lock on the outcome. It would give them more options, make it easier, make it less dangerous.
Yeah, that, and I'm still not convinced he's too sure about his place, because his name has come up.
I didn't think he had as much to worry about with Danny there.
Yeah, I don't know about Danny and Deshawn's closeness at this point. Not sure who Danny is closer to.
In any case, Xander ends up winning, and so Erika and Xander get their immunity necklaces. It somehow seemed different when Xander got his. Like his was more celebrated than Erika's. I know he went longer, but she said she had been dreaming about it since she was a kid watching. And
Well, he said
then
when he came off of it, that's a dream come true for me.
Yeah.
So he had already said that.
He tells us it was a challenge that was made for him. I'm not sure exactly how. He doesn't really have the physical attributes to make it made for him. He just had the endurance, the willpower to be able to suffer through the pain.
Well, and I guess he wanted it more. He was able to hold out. Jeff tells the yellow team, you have to go to the old Ua tribe camp.
That really was bugging Ricard, wasn't
food,
it?
And they won't have an opportunity to talk to Deshawn and Danny and Liana. And,
so it's back to small tribe, tribal councils.
But Ricard made sure we are coming back to the
After
other
that,
tribe, right?
I don't want to stay at
I don't
Ua
want to
Beach.
stay there.
Yep.
Anyway.
And we get a little more Liana hating on Xander in her confessional after that. She wants space, and I was thinking, I've got a plan to give you space.
Yes,
it just
you had
involves
her
you being
going home
voted
this
off.
week.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to get a point.
For a little while, I did too.
Yeah. I had
Viakana-
Evvie going, but I was rooting for you to get a point.
Viakana, it's time to chow down on some stew. I think Xander got a great big chicken neck in his. Beef. Jeff said it was beef and chicken.
Yeah.
So that looked like a big old chicken neck in there.
Chicken or chicken parts.
Yeah.
Well, that might make a good broth for
And
sure.
Evidently, he had been dreaming about it, and he had been talking about it. So everybody was like, "Look, you got what you
Oh,
wanted."
you can just imagine how yummy that was.
Yeah.
Oh, after all of that time. And those guys.
Even just getting to
muscles.
smell it.
Really. Oh, yeah.
Like when you cook those stews in the crock pot, and it just fills up the house with the stew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff.
You're like, I can't wait. It's like, it's in the crock pot. It'll get done eventually.
Yeah. 8 hours later.
Hey.
Evvie tells us that she's doing all right. She's got Deshawn from that earlier convo she had where they're never going to write each other's name down. And she thinks she might be able to pull Xander back in, even though it's been rocky between the two of them.
Well, and he needs her. So, hey.
To both their credit, yeah, they re-teamed up here.
She tells him right off, hey, I see Shan and Liana running off together most often.
No, there's a little variation on that.
Okay.
What she said was, I'll do whatever you want.
True.
He's like, who should we target? And then she offers what you said. Mm-hmm. Shan and Liana running around the beach together all the time. So she said she'd do whatever he wanted, and then she was able to offer what she wanted.
Why wouldn't she? Otherwise, it's her, period. Yeah. I would offer him anything and everything at that point. So just
seemed like a plan.
Keep me around, because she was the one that was going to scramble. She was my vote off.
That was an interesting conversation between Deshawn and Danny. It seemed like Danny was not picking up on the off cues that Deshawn was giving. Well, his uncertainty and...
Yeah, Danny's like, what do you mean? It's Evvie.
Yeah.
Like, what? Why are you even talking about it?
Why is there confusion?
That's obvious.
Why are we discussing it? And yet Deshawn clearly wasn't settled on that in any part of that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, well, if he needed to feel Danny out to see where he stood, he found that out.
It was a real ham-fisted way, though. He was telegraphing to him that he wasn't necessarily on that page.
Well, then Liana tells Xander how dangerous Deshawn is. And can you believe she had the chutzpah to ask him
Good for her.
For the idol?
That was great. She opened herself up to that.
What?
Xander had already said, at least the way we got in the edit, that he was willing to give his
it to Evvie.
immunity idol to Evvie.
I give it to Evvie.
And then Liana asks, will you give it to me to make me comfortable?
Yeah. And he's like,
yeah, no.
No. Oh, no, not to you.
Definitely not you.
Oh, no, not to you.
That was great. I love that
like
part.
that.
Yeah. No, not you.
Thanks, Xander, for the entertainment. I enjoyed that very much.
Yeah.
It's like, why would I make you comfortable?
That was a nice little bit of editing. They catch Xander saying, well, that's an interesting dynamic over there on Ua Beach right now. Mm-hmm. Which they used to transition over there.
And Shan telling Naseer, yeah, vote Heather.
Well, save our idols. Naseer says, that's amazing. That's exactly what I wanted.
Yep, that's what he wanted to hear.
Mm-hmm.
We can't vote Erika, so that's our only other option.
So he immediately runs over to Heather and says, sorry, Heather, you're going home.
Yeah, why would he do that?
Well, he doesn't have the savvy. He doesn't have that sense of how to play that and how that could go south on him.
But he's watched Survivor. He said he's watched Survivor. Why would you give her anything to play with? Any room? Nothing? Tell her nothing. Okay, Naseer.
His social game is indeed lacking.
Well,
yeah. I think he needs his daughter probably to help him through some of that.
Maybe now he knows why you don't do that. Okay. And then I liked little Erika asking Naseer if he'd play his idol for Heather.
Again, bold.
I thought, wow, they're just out there with it, babe. I thought, well,
Naseer,
they certainly won't
no
if
way.
you don't ask.
Just like
He's
Xander.
Like,
no way. Not for Heather. Not for Mama H.
Well, Erika wants to go after Shan, which she should be highlighting a lot because Shan's after her.
Yep.
So that could be a good battle. Good luck, Erika. Okay, Xander tells Deshawn, we're back over at the other camp.
Viakana.
And he tells Deshawn and Danny that Evvie and I are voting Liana. And they know he's got an extra vote, too. So, and he's got an idol he could play for Evvie. Mm-hmm. So Danny and Deshawn have to think about that.
Seems like a pretty bold, powerful move, yeah.
And Xander's willing to use all of the above if he needs to, because he really thinks this is the tribal council that the rest of his game is going to pivot on.
This could be huge for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
he and Danny have a conversation, and Danny says, I'll do what you want, but Evvie is the better move.
I'll do what you want, but.
Yeah.
That usually means, no, I don't want to.
And you could tell it definitely had an impact. Xander recognized the threat of things going south, and he said, I may have to play that idol for Evvie.
Yep. Now back over to the other camp.
Did you believe it when you saw it?
What?
Ricard going to Erika and Heather and saying, let's get Naseer. Did you believe he was sincere?
I did, yeah.
I did not.
You didn't?
No. I thought that is absolutely the right move, but I think you're running cover again. I think it's a deception to make sure that you can control the vote total without having to expend any extras.
Why would he bother?
Thought. He's done it before. It's to throw him off. It's to control the vote.
Why bother?
It's to help guarantee that you get the desired outcome.
Yeah. I never thought that.
But then you get the next scene where he's talking to Shan, and he's very, very serious about it.
Yep, I believe that too. But Shan wasn't on board. She's like, wait a minute, what are you talking? I want Erika. Can't get her. Heather's the next best thing. What are you thinking? And he's like, will you give me the extra vote to make sure that can happen? And I thought, why does he need the extra vote? If Heather, and Erika vote for Naseer, and he doesn't play an idol, he's going home. Maybe he just didn't trust Shan, that she wouldn't play it.
And she says, no, I will play it.
If it's gonna, she's
got to get
"But
played. I'll do it.
I want to play it for
Right.
And she didn't want to.
No. If that's
like,
that's
no.
gonna get played, I'm gonna get the credit for it.
But
Ricard tells us in a confessional, I have the most high maintenance alliance in the history of Survivor.
who won
Referring to
that?
Shan.
Who won that?
We don't know at that point.
No, we don't.
Off to tribal
do
council, night 17. See Tiffany there in the jury as Ricard.
With a big old bug on her.
Well, that comes later when Heather's calling for help. Ricard, Shan, Naseer, Heather, and Erika come in.
I thought, way to get your moment there, Tiffany. That's great. The bug cooperated.
Yep, Heather's looking to the skies for an advantage for something, and she gets her answer in the form of a huge cockroach that lands on Tiffany.
Well, I can honestly say they all did a good job making Naseer think he was safe.
Excellent. Yeah, there were no actual tears, but since he was behind her, he couldn't see that. So that gave Heather an advantage being in the front row in that sense.
Yeah,
At least I didn't see any tears.
Erika, I thought she was said too much. I don't remember what she said, but I was thinking, careful, Erika.
Like when she
Whatever
said we
she
have
said.
no advantages, and
Yeah,
that was the only
it's
real
like,
note I made.
Careful. But anyway, Heather played it well. But I need a miracle. It's me, Jeff.
I got nothing.
Blah blah blah.
Naseer said, I choose me over Heather.
Well, Naseer did encourage her not to give up.
Yeah, but you're getting voted out. Shan takes a minute to make it about her for a second, and I feel at risk.
I still feel where I know Erika's safe, and Ricard and I have been very close since the beginning of the game, but I'm still worried.
And then Naseer tells us Heather is a great teacher. Basically, he's enjoyed being there with her, but she has to go.
Okay.
Jeez.
Nice goodbye there, Naseer.
Yeah.
You're right. Somebody's leaving.
Heather just puts a little cherry on the top, a little more fake
Cries
crying,
a little.
and tells us that she is proud of herself.
I wanted to play for 20 years, and I can't wait for my kids to see this. She played it.
Yeah.
I bet you can.
That was a good moment.
I can't wait for my kids to see this.
And in her heart, she knew that she didn't know exactly how it was going to come out. So either way,
She didn't think she was going
yeah,
on.
that was classic. That she wins with either outcome with a statement like that.
Well, and it's time to vote. Even I was surprised when it was tied. I'm like, what? Why did they tie it up? I guess to then be certain where the votes would go. I
Just to
don't know.
make sure if he
yeah,
played
if
it.
everybody was going to do what they said
Yeah.
they'd do, they weren't.
I guess, yeah.
So they weren't trusting.
Revote. You can only vote for Heather and Naseer, and boom, Naseer is out.
Bye-bye. He
And-
was so shocked.
And gets to take, yeah.
So shocked.
He was bum puzzled, and he gets to take an immediate seat in the jury. Bring in the next tribal council.
Thanks for everything, Naseer. Thanks for all the food gathering. And the reason I didn't choose it to go that way is because Shan had been adamant last week about, I don't want Naseer to go. He provides for us.
This is really what you were asking about
That's
before.
why I didn't vote for to go that way.
How
I thought she would
surprised
refuse
to see that actually happen, right?
Yeah.
I thought rather that if anybody was going to go against that larger majority alliance, it was going to be Deshawn and Danny.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see Ricard get his way, and it ends up being Ricard and Shan going against
Again,
someone
his
in their
call,
alliance.
his idea,
Yeah.
and his implementation, and so
I'd totally give him the credit for that.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It wouldn't have happened, I guess, unless
No,
she had gone along.
she was
but,
totally good with taking out Heather.
Mm-hmm.
It would have just gone smoothly. Bye-bye, Heather. Because I had Heather going, and so did you. So,
Yep, we got the next.
but we didn't care because it was exciting.
Yeah, we got the next group in, and Danny tells us that it's all very nerve-wracking.
And he was very surprised Naseer was out. And I was surprised that everybody else said they felt pretty good. Danny was the only one saying, well, not since I walked in and saw Naseer sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel so good.
Xander was feeling good. He felt good enough to stop
Yep.
everything and thank Jeff for the great stew.
Yep. And how good it was.
Better than promised. Yeah, everybody had some degree of confidence. So, like, Probst loves those moments because he knows someone's about to get shocked.
And Deshawn said, "There's nowhere to hide in this tribal council."
Yeah,
With 5
that's
people.
true.
I thought that was,
They never had that experience the way Evvie and Xander had.
I thought this was an excellent twist, the way they handled this week. Loved it.
You mean in terms of the opportunity to have 2 vote
Breaking
outs?
them into,
separating them.
them, the winners, 2 vote outs, 2 tribals, small tribe.
Just by
Yes,
twist, you
it
mean
really
in
broke
the
it
fact that
up.
they went back to these smaller
Yeah,
groups.
yeah.
Okay.
I liked that.
Yeah.
I don't want them to stay there, but that was a nice treat for me. Okay.
So everybody's confident, and Deshawn says this is where you find out who's who in the zoo, though, the way these votes play out. Evvie
Well-
tells us it's a roller coaster ride, except someone dies at the end of this one.
I believe that Xander truly believed that Liana was going.
Yes.
And he said
He had faith in
that,
Deshawn.
yeah, he had faith in, and he genuinely wanted to work with these people going forward, and he was feeling very confident. Poor Xander.
Yeah, I think it speaks poorly of Deshawn and Danny in the sense that they missed out on this opportunity.
Yeah, me too. They could have
Some of what I'm saying
formed
is
a new.
colored by the next time on Survivor, where you can see they have pivoted against their alliance, but it just seemed disappointing that they could have taken a different path.
Okay, well, let's
Even though
finish
I
tribal council.
have Shan as
first.
my USB, I was hoping they might do something different here.
Yep, I was hoping they would take Liana, even though I had Evvie going and would lose a point, and I thought, I don't care.
Were you surprised
This
that
would be
Xander
more
held his idol?
exciting.
He didn't play it for her after
I
all the talk?
was, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too. I thought he was
What
going
that
to.
said to me is, oh, well, he believed him.
He believed him, and
Danny must be good because he obviously believed him that he's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And he has a strong sense of self-preservation, which is good. Another reason to hold on to
hold
that
on
idol.
to it. Yep. Wow. But
Evvie's out.
again, it got down to 2 for Evvie, 2 for Liana, and boom. Xander's hopes were crushed right
Dashed.
along with Evvie's.
Yes. Evvie had good spirits about it, though. Well
She
played,
did.
she said.
Good one, guys.
That was Xander. Acknowledging
yeah,
that
it was-
Danny
it
and
was Xander.
Deshawn
You're right.
got one over on him, basically.
Yeah. He's probably getting really tired of that.
Yeah, so I enjoyed the
working so
episode.
hard.
I liked the mechanics, the breaking out into the smaller groups, all that, like you were talking about. It's good stuff.
I don't quite understand why Danny and Deshawn were telling Liana that they wanted to get Ricard out. I guess they're still.
Oh, you moved on to next time on Survivor.
Well, yeah. Was there
Okay.
anything else?
Next time on Survivor. Well, I was talking about the enjoyment of the
Oh, okay.
the overall episode. But if you've said everything you need to say, we're good.
Well, we can say whatever we want
I'm
after
done.
the next one.
Yep, I'm done with my part. I enjoyed the
Okay.
episode. It's a good one.
Excellent. Were you surprised that they were saying that to Liana?
After they had just done this, yes, that after they just held strong on the alliance, to see that. Now, we don't know what prompted it yet. There could have been some conversation they became privy to. There's obviously some trigger for that, and we don't know about it. But it's like you just held strong on this alliance when it would have been to your advantage to get Liana out and take that away from Shan. And now you leave her in, Liana, and
now
you
Deshawn
target
says-
Ricard.
Yeah, as long as Ricard is in the game, Shanna's the most powerful player. I thought, well, yeah, that's true.
You could have won
But-
this.
You could have got Liana first
Yep, which would have been a great
and
first
then
move.
gone after.
Yeah,
Or just go after Shan once you flush her idol.
that would rattle her a little bit. Yeah, so you could flush it and get rid of Ricard, and then
Well, they'll find out because Liana runs right to Shan,
Yes.
crying no less,
they cry
saying
together.
that the boys are after Ricard.
Ricard goes to Deshawn and asks him, and Deshawn says, "I never said that to anybody." Assuming the edit is clear and accurate and it's not misleading us a little bit.
That's all they gave us. So.
Yeah.
But Ricard doesn't believe him. He said, Deshawn continues to lie and he is annoying me. And then Shan chimes in with Deshawn is really sneaky.
We're going to vote out Deshawn.
Yep.
Which usually guarantees that Deshawn is going nowhere.
Yes, my USB. But it's you just don't know.
Quite the showdown.
Season, huh?
I'm looking forward to this. I'm glad they squared off now and it didn't happen at the end. So in the next episode, rather. That's why I was really disappointed that they didn't go ahead and take that chance, that opportunity to get a hand up and get rid of Liana. That would have been one less vote that Shan could have counted on when they were coming for Shan and Ricard. If they're going to
deal with it while there are still other people that they could pull into a specific
You want to maximize that.
Well,
And you could have used Evvie in this plan.
Because we had talked about if they get down to final 5 guys, they're going to pick you off, Danny and Deshawn. I think that's how
Ricard,
it would go.
Liana, and Shan would have the numbers.
I think they're tighter.
Yes.
So if Liana were smarter, she wouldn't do that because Shan could just as well take Ricard, like she said. She's been close to him since the beginning of the game.
Yes. Yeah, she's confirmed at least a day or two ago that Ricard was still her number 1.
Yep.
It's not her cry buddy, Liana.
And you're right, what you said about Evvie having a good attitude. She said, they got me. That's Survivor. I'm just so happy I got to be a part of it. So it's like, good on you, Evvie.
Yeah. Well, that embracing, running towards the positivity will help ensure that you have a better overall experience. The people who get bent out of shape and can't let go, and hopefully Tiffany processes her thing, but she was pretty upset and struggling with the fact that they couldn't go after any of the idols. And we'll see how Evvie's doing in her Ponderosa video, but I expect it to be pretty solid, pretty positive overall.
Imagine how excited Tiffany's going to be to have Naseer and Evvie there to talk to about the game.
Yeah, I don't know that Naseer's going to process it that well. We'll see.
No, because he's still he's still
he
shocked.
Got played really hard.
Whoa, did not even remotely.
His was
see
a hard
that
blindside. Yeah.
Well, he can commiserate with those other people that were on UA in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually. They won't be at Ponderosa now, but eventually he can talk to. They know how he feels.
So this was a complex one with the double vote out. We don't have the JSFL scores, so no JSFL update this time.
Yeah, that'll take a little while. Steve has to go in and manually do that. So we'll announce it on Saturday.
Yeah, the scores will be up ahead of time for anybody who wants to go look. But yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Cover it there.
Your voice just got hoarse.
I did?
Mine did too, kind
of. I don't think so.
Sounded like it.
Anything else you need to cover?
Who do you think is going to go home next?
Oh, Deshawn, definitely.
Oh, you do not. I know you. You're just picking at me. He could. I'm not saying he couldn't.
Yep.
But I don't think it's a given. I'd love to see Ricard go. I'd actually rather see Shan go and watch Ricard scramble and see where his intelligence would go and his schemes would take him without somebody to implement it.
So do you think Danny and Deshawn can marshal Erika and Xander? Is that gonna mean anything for them?
I don't know if Xander can really trust them.
Yeah, they could have burned a big bridge right there, huh?
That's what I saw as, being the most difficult is yes, but they would have burned the bridge. They would have burned the bridge with Ricard and Shan too if they'd have voted out Liana. So either way, they were going to burn.
Yeah, but then it would have been on.
Yeah.
Now it'll be on day 18 or 19, whenever that all goes down.
Well, there is still 4 people from the original Luvu tribe in the game.
So if Danny and Deshawn can work something out with Erika and Heather and Xander, there's a good chance they can take Ricard out. Shan won't be able to stop it. The only thing that's going to prevent that is Ricard winning immunity, because they just got the numbers.
True. So then you flip and you take Shan or Liana if you're wanting to get to that.
Maybe you make Shan worry enough that she'll play an idol.
Does Deshawn and Danny think that the girls will be in a tighter alliance with them if they get Ricard out? Is that what they're shooting for, you think? Or
you're saying what prompted this attack on Ricard?
I'm asking what you think Danny and Deshawn's thoughts were and why they wanted him out, or at least Deshawn.
We don't know what that trigger is, but there's something that sets them off, and it makes them recognize Shan as the threat. And so knowing that she's got an immunity idol, they take that last path of least resistance rather and target Ricard. I mean, they can still go after Liana too.
Well, Heather and
assuming
Erika,
they can bring Heather and Erika and Xander in.
Well, they're not going to want to work with Shan. Heather and Erika both know that, don't they, that she's after them?
You have to keep your options open when you're at the bottom, but
yeah,
it seems like it would be comfortable for Erika and Heather to fall back in with Deshawn and Danny to execute a plan and then have Xander as that fifth vote. So you got a 5-3. You just gotta somehow pick the right target between Shan, Ricard, and Liana.
I would really like it to see it go that direction, and any one of those three picked off would be good for me.
That's the real trick is in
but then I don't know where it would go.
How you manage that. You either keep it locked down tight so you don't discuss it with them at all. You completely shut them out, which is really the best plan. It's also the hardest one to pull off. Or you make each of the three, Liana, Ricard, and Shan, think it's them. And that's what usually will trip a majority up in that kind of scenario, is they try to get a little too clever.
Well, their best bet would be to just say, yeah, it's one of you three, to force Shan to play her idol. It's like, let's force her to play her idol. If she thinks she might get votes, she'll save herself over Ricard.
It's tempting for sure.
But if she thinks it's Ricard, will she? She's always said that it was their idol. They would play. But will she?
No.
Okay. So
she'll say, I love you, on the way out the door, but I don't think she would play it for him.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. She's pretty attached to her precious immunity idol at this point.
Well, they're playing good. I got to give...
It'll be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
I give them kudos for that play tonight. They did good. That's exactly what they should have done.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is like, Shan, yes, you're after everybody that has an idol. But guess what happens when they're gone? You're the only one with an idol.
You don't think that's a trigger, do you? Do you think the vote out of Naseer is what triggered Danny and Deshawn?
I don't know.
They were kind of attached to him. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's enough. You take one of mine, I take one of yours.
Okay.
It'll be exciting to see. Well, the other thing I'm excited is to hear what the superfans thought about this episode, see if they enjoyed it as much as we did, and maybe be able to share some things from their own specific walk in life, their lens. They might see some things that we didn't see that we hadn't covered in the recap here already. So if you'd like to come be a part of our listener feedback show on Saturday, you can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, toll free, 844-643-8737. You can record an audio and attach it, send it in an email, or write it up if you're not comfortable with your voice being on the show yet. I say yet because you're probably working towards that.
I see.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable with that yet, you can write it up and we'll read it into the show for you. And that email is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. We're having a blast with listener feedback shows. It's been a bumpy season. Season's getting mixed reviews, But the thing that I think that we can all agree on is we're having a good time getting together and talking about it all.
And the question is, are they going to put Naseer's idol back in play?
Okay. Sure. That's a question.
That's what I want to know. Then we have to wait till next week to see.
Maybe, maybe not. But I'd say the quick answer is no.
Yeah, since there's 2 in place still,
Yeah.
they probably won't, but it's a possibility.
True.
Okay, we're talking about it again. Okay, good night, everybody.
Have a good one.